Paintings by Pablo Picasso, Emily Carr, and Jean Riopelle are passing through Montreal on their way to be auctioned in Toronto. The public is invited to have a glimpse of these rarely exhibited paintings on Saturday at the Heffel Gallery downtown. They're part of an auction of mostly Canadian artwork where sales spiral into tens of millions of dollars. Joining me now to talk about the artwork and the auction is Robert Heffel, Vice President at the Heffel Auction House. Welcome to our Montreal.
Thank you for having us.
This is so exciting. How often are these paintings shown to the public, the ones that we're going to see?
Exactly. I mean, the Picasso, for example, is the first time it's been shown in Canada. It's the first time it's been offered in Canada.
Wow.
So it's a rare opportunity to see a masterpiece, Picasso.
Well, let's talk about that. The Picasso painting is titled Femme au Chapeau. Who is the femme? Who's the woman in the hat?
It's a very good question. It's Dora Maar. Dora Maar was the well-known surrealist artist, photographer, an important subject for Picasso, Picasso's lover at the time. Some of Picasso's most famous paintings and most valuable paintings are of Dora Maar, and this is a stunning example of a Dora Maar portrait.
Wow. And there's also a painting by a Canadian artist, Emily Carr, which depicts a street scene in an Indigenous community on Vancouver Island. What brought her there to paint?
Well, Emily Carr in 1907 went up to Alaska and saw First Nations villages and totem poles, and at that time decided she wanted to make that her life mission, to depict First Nation villages and totem poles. She spent a few years doing watercolors of scenes, and she realized she didn't have the artistic toolkit to really convey the emotion that she wanted to convey of these First Nation villages. So she went to France in 1910, 1911. And at that time, Paris was the center of the art world, and she studied modern art. And she came back to British Columbia and painted these incredible series of paintings in 1912 of First Nation villages. And the concept of using bright colors, bright bold colors, this was a very modern idea. Today we look at this painting and we think, oh, this is a beautiful modern painting. But at the time, this was a very avant-garde painting. But by using bright colors, she's conveying the emotion of this First Nations village, and it's a very important painting.
Well, she was very avant-garde at the time and bordering on abstract, I've heard it said. But how did the public receive them when they were first shown?
I mean, exactly. In 1912, when they weren't well received. In fact, she kind of went, she had a big, she put on a show of her own, and really the critics sort of panned the exhibition, and she sort of went into a period where she didn't paint for a while afterwards. And and now, of course, this is a masterpiece, and we realize it's a masterpiece. But she was ahead of her time.
How much do you think this is going to go for at auction?
The Emily Carr estimate is $2 to $3 million Canadian, which I know that's a lot of money, but that actually that's a realistic and conservative estimate.
Is there do you get sort of like an amount that you're happy with? Like if it goes for that much, are you happy with that, or anything above that is just gravy? At
Heffel, anytime we sell a painting over $1 million, we're happy.
Okay.
We're happy every time. But it was the year 2000. Our first time we sold a painting for $1 million, and at that time that was a really big deal. But since then we've sold, I should know this off the top of my head, but well over 30 paintings over $1 million. So,
wow.
The Canadian art market and the international market is really changed, and it's really grown. And But it just shows you people how much we value our culture and value, and this is very important, and it should be valued that way.
Well, these paintings are being sold at an auction in Toronto later this month, along with about 100 others, and you're expecting about $20 million in sales?
The estimate's $20 to $25 million. The Picasso's estimate at $8 to $10 million, and it's a very big auction. We're very excited. It's going to be great. And
does the financial value of the painting generally line up with the artistic value?
I would say so, yes. Eventually, history and things catch up, and eventually when you look back on it, it's easier to look back and you realize who are the most famous and most important and groundbreaking and the most historically significant artists. So value does catch up with the importance of the work, but it takes time. As we talked about the Emily Carr in 1912, people didn't quite realize how important these were, and now, it takes. It's easier when you look back on time and you can really look at the history.
Well, that might be one of the groundbreaking paintings this time around. And you certainly have had some groundbreaking moments. Let's watch a clip from an auction. Now, this is from 2016, and it's a painting called The Mountain Forms by a group of 7 artist, Lawrence Harris, and it's being auctioned off. Let's watch that.
We'll start this lot off at $2,500,000. At $2,500,000, several places now. 2.6, 2.7, $2,800,000, $2,900,000, $5 million. $5 million. At $5 million, a new record for a Canadian work at auction in a single called out bid. Well done. At $9,500,000, and in the room at $9,500,000. One quick crack at a hammer and one giant leap for the Canadian art market. Selling now. Yours, sir, 9.5.
So what's the point of holding an auction when you can easily do it online?
We do monthly online auctions. At Heffel, we have galleries all across the country, and in each one of our galleries we have specialty online sales, and they do very well. But we also do live auctions every May and November. We hold the live auctions in Toronto. This Heffel auction's coming up November 20th in Toronto, and we publish catalogs. And there is look, online auctions are great. It's very exciting, and it's the world. We do over $10 million a year in our online auctions, but there's something also very exciting about. They're both great, and this
doing it in person.
There is an electricity in the room, and it will be a very exciting auction. We broadcast our auction live on the internet, heffel.com. A lot of our clients from all over the world watch the auction. It's like they get popcorn and beer or whatever, and they love it. And we put on a good show. And but having said that, our online auctions are tremendous as well. And we try to, in our online auctions, they're separate, but we try to create the same kind of electricity. But as you said, they are two different things.
So Picasso and Emily Carr, how do you find these things? How do they come to you?
A lot of it's, we've been doing this for over 30 years, and we're building relationships with people. The Emily Carr and the Picasso, the Emily Carr we've known about for a long time. We've built a very good relationship with the consigner being the owner of the painting. Mm-hmm. And same with the Picasso. It's a family that we've dealt with and build a relationship with. But the important part about the Picasso is it's a European family, and of all the places they decided to sell it, they've decided on Canada. And at Heffel, we're part of a bigger ecosystem, and we're trying to grow Canada into a bigger art market center, and deservedly so. It should be. It's a safe haven country, and Canada deserves to have its place in, and also by bringing in great international works, it also shows the world our great Canadian artists. So we'll have people come and see the Picasso, and they'll say, "Oh, who's this Emily Carr?" And so it really helps contextualize our great Canadian artists, but also grow the Canadian art market and the international art market in Canada.
Well, speaking of getting noticed for Canadian art, is that Canadian art being sold to Canadians, or is it going overseas? Because your buyers are from everywhere, I would imagine.
Our buyers are from everywhere, and for the Emily Carr, for example, we'll have interest from United States, Europe, but predominantly, we'll see, but the buyer could very well be Canadian. Interesting, when we get great international works in, our phone lines are full. We have people all over the world, but quite often Canadians end up buying those pieces as well. So we're bringing international artwork back into Canada, and don't discount Canada. The Canadians can buy as well, and they do.
And I think we haven't even spoken about the Riopelle yet. Tell me about the Riopelle that's going to be up.
Jean-Paul Riopelle, one of Canada's most important abstract painters, went to Paris in the 50s. An artist very close to Montreal's hearts, and it's a stunning painting. The estimate's $950,000 to $1,250,000. But again, on that painting, we've had a lot of interest from across Canada, but also internationally, some very big collectors.
So you're selling these paintings for hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions. You're not exactly rolling them up, putting them in a tube, and shipping them. How do they get to the buyers?
Well, there are some very good fine art transport companies. In Canada, one of the best is Pacific Art Services. And there's companies that specialize in fine art transport, and it's a good question. art transport is a very, there's major museum shows that come into Canada, and those are logistically shows that take a lot of effort in terms of transporting, and I'm sure there's armed guards and plainside assistance involved, and yes.
Sometimes like the movies.
Just very much so.
And out of the 100 or so paintings that you're auctioning off, do you have a favorite, or is there one that you're really keeping your eye on that you think might surprise people?
Well, we talked about the Picasso and the Emily Carr. Those certainly are two of my favorites. On the cover of the post-war catalog is Joan Mitchell painting, painted in the 50s. Joan Mitchell is an American abstract expressionist painter who spent half her time in New York and Paris. But Joan Mitchell was also Riopelle's girlfriend by the 50s and 60s. There was a recent amazing touring exhibition entitled Mitchell Riopelle, and that's on the cover of our post-war contemporary catalog. And I can't tell you how excited. Well, we're very excited about the wholesale, but we were so excited when we'd known about that painting for a while as well. But when they called us up and said we're going to consign the Joan Mitchell to us to Heffel, we so excited. It's very, very exciting.
Well, this sounds like it's going to be fascinating. I hope the gavel comes down in your favor. Can I say that?
I think you should. Yeah, well, luck counts too, and yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
You can get a glimpse of some of the paintings at the Heffel Gallery on Sherbrooke Street West on Saturday, and you can also watch the auction online on the Heffel website. It will take place November 20th.